Africa TV Freak Up Studio Live 2022 GSL Season 1 Code S.
Sometimes I hunt for the storm just to weather it. Prefer them deadly than challenge accepted. And don't get too friendly. My motives are treacherous.
Lives. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a little while here for GSL Code S, but we're finally here. We've returned for the year 2022. We missed you.
Yeah, especially me. It's been so long since I've cast anything at this point, Tasteless, that I was jonesing for today. I'm so happy that we are finally back here with Code S. We've got this exciting new format. We've got a lot of great players. We've got some players returning that we haven't seen in a long time. It's going to be a great season.
It's also going to be on a new patch. We have a new iteration of StarCraft 2. We'll be unpacking that for you guys as we get into the games a little bit. New maps as well, but a lot to kind of reinvigorate the whole StarCraft 2 scene.
Yeah, and I am excited about that. I think that it is going to mix things up a little bit more than I think some people are thinking it's going to. And we'll see. Are we going to have another Zerg champion this season?
I've got my fingers crossed, no.
Yeah.
I hope not. I hope that the changes do kind of mix it up a little bit and make it a little bit more interesting. But either way, man, it's good to be back. And we've got a long road ahead of us here for 2022. For those of you that joined us on Super Tournament, that was a blast. But now we're really getting into the Star League thick of it here with GSL.
Yeah, and we have a new format, which is awesome. First, let's take a look at our schedule. As you can see, Mondays and Thursdays, that is what we are all about. Now, we have 5 groups because we are right now in the round of 20. It is a different format. We'll go to a round of 10 after that. And yeah, so on and so forth. As you can see, there's also like a round of 6. So it's a very different format this time, and we'll explain that to you as we get into it. One thing you need to know is the round of 20. This is going to be just regular GSL-style groups.
Yeah, it won't feel different at all.
Yeah, that's going to be exactly the same. Top 2 from each group go into the round of 10, where it's going to be round robin. And then it gets a little bit, it looks tricky, but basically the 2 winners of the round of 10 groups will go to the round of 4, and second and third places will play off in almost their own elimination GSL group in the round of 6, where the winners will end up going into that round of 4, and then, of course, the finals there at the end. So it feels like there's almost like more play in the middle of the tournament. You know what I mean? There's more opportunities to really show what you've got.
I like this new format. And like we've done in the past, I like some of the changes we've made here in GSL. I mean, ultimately it is, a giant tournament that, people are hacking and slashing their way through week after week until we do get one player. But I think, especially in these middle portions, making it a little bit more interesting and making the stakes a little bit different. In the past, it was like a round of 32, and then the group stages went on forever, and then you get to the round of 16, and it's the exact same feeling. And I think what the staff's really done here with a new format like this is make each part, each phase of the tournament interesting and different.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice and refreshing considering we're in like year 12 or 13 of GSL at this point.
I think it's 12 now. Because I remember
first GSL
we got to year 10 and it was like, I can't believe it. And then it got to year 11, it's like, damn. Yeah. And here we are. Yeah, I think it is year 12. By the way, we have our map lineup at the bottom of the screen. Roughneck will be joining us in the map lineup.
Yep. And we'll hopefully play that here today. I haven't seen the map vetoes yet, but we'll be showing that momentarily.
I think it's likely to be vetoed. This happens in a lot of GSLs. We're like, there's this new map, and then we don't see it until the finals, and I've already forgotten it's in the lineup, and then we're like, all right, let's figure out what this map's all about.
Let's take a look at our groups. Of course, today, Dark, Classic, DRG, and Dream. We'll talk more about that in the future, but yeah, do any of the groups like really stand out to you, Tasteless?
I mean, honestly, I think Group A might be the most interesting one. It's going to be fun to see how Zhang performs in Group C here. Nightmare's in there as well. We'll see how Beyond's wrists are doing. But honestly, out of all of them, I think Group A stands out the most. What about you?
Okay. I'm kind of into D&E a little bit. Gumiho, I'm really excited to see what type of shape he is going to be in. Crater's been doing a lot better. Solar had a good Katowice trap, best Protoss there is, so that's kind of fun. And then Group E, I think, is is pretty reasonable too, and I'm excited to see how Ragnarok is going to do without Queens transfusing off of creep, because that's like 90% of his strats.
Dude, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a real big change here for Zergs in general. I mean, that is, you know, something that Zergs so many times have hinged victories on, is kind of strong-arming fights with transfuses, with Queens in locations that are, you know, not centered on the Zerg defending anything. They've obviously won games defending with that as well, but this really shifts it. It actually makes me think all the way back to the moment where they made the Queen not fast on off of creep.
Yeah, well, that was definitely a great change, considering back then it was like literally you just make mostly Queens and a few Roaches and go in all matchups.
Yeah, you'd YOLO it to their base, but much welcome change. We'll see, you know, what roles it's going to play in the games we've got here today. Over here for Group A, I don't know. I think this is a tougher one to call here. We're going to have Dark versus Classic to start things off.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously Dark, one of the best players in the world. You know, he's got to be one of the favorites for this season. We'll see how, of course, the patch affects him, but going up against Classic, you know, Classic's been back for a little bit now. He hasn't shown us great results, but his play hasn't looked bad either. He's had some good close matches. He's looked pretty strong overall. And I'm hoping that we get to see Classic reach his old form this year. Because, like, remember the last live BlizzCon we had where Classic was, like, the only player showing anything that wasn't Zerg. Remember, like, how many DTs was it? Like the 17 DT blanket or whatever? It was, you know, the guy is just amazing when he's on.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun to have him back here and see what he can do now. You know, we are in the phase of StarCraft. We're seeing this in StarCraft 1 as well, but StarCraft 2 especially, where people have done their compulsory military service. They come back. They're now free to do whatever they want with the rest of their lives as far as the Korean government's concerned. So let's see what happens here.
All right. Looks like we're going to have Hardwire, Glittering Ashes, and Roughneck if we make it to map 3. All right, excellent.
Already a little bit of promise here, but Dark, an extremely strong Zerg here, as good as Classic is. I'm interested in seeing how this matchup's going to pan out. Let's not forget, big thing to talk about here today, guys. Queens can no longer transfuse off of creep. What does that mean for this matchup and for this season? Let's start to find out. Our first game's ready.
Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Dark. Alpha X, Classic.
Now, of course, another one of the big changes. I'm sure a lot of people watching this have already, of course, read through the patch notes. And, you know, seen a lot of people's takes. I even made a video about it and everything. But yeah, of course, the Void Rays being nerfed a bit there. You know, that definitely could impact. You know, we've had, and honestly, I've been a big proponent of it. You know, just about every match, I'm like, yeah, you know what they should do here is make Void Rays and just get into the late game. But I think we're going to see less of that, which is probably very, very healthy for the matchup. I'm thinking we aren't going to just get into endgame mass spellcasters and flying units every single time, which is, I think, in theory, what you were actually supposed to do before this patch, even though some players would not go for that. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, let's also keep in mind, you know, Zerg can still spread creep. Right, and we
not quickly though, right? Like you can't just get it like half map or something.
You can get it pretty fast.
Whoa,
so,
that's crazy.
I mean, as much
they should do that.
As this may be a an impact here on the game as far as some types of abusive moves. Again, if you can get creep there, the idea still remains. You know, so I think there is a possibility that some of the changes that are intended for this may end up kind of in a game that's pretty standard where they can really control the map. It may just kind of look the same anyways. We'll see. Let's just try to approach this patch here with an open mind, and the pro gamers have really labbed out a lot of stuff, so let's see what they got.
Yeah, and of course, shield batteries obviously, you know, they're going to have half the energy if they're outside the next field. So we got to watch for that as well.
So, looks like it is going to be a Stargate opening here.
Yeah. And is it going to be Void Ray, though? I'll tell you what, Tasteless, I think it's going to be Oracle. I could see you still making a Void Ray, you know?
Just to chase away Overlords.
Yeah, but I could
that.
also see you just saying, you know what, screw it, let's make a Phoenix.
Maybe. So again, the tit for tat here in early game, and it's going to be a Void Ray.
All right.
Start things off.
Well, there is this funny thing, right? When things get nerfed, and just to be clear, right, the Void Ray takes 6 more seconds to build. Obviously, if you, like, realign your Chrono Boost or something, maybe that's not going to make as big a difference from you. And the mineral cost going up from 200 to 250, right? So,
right.
I mean, it's a reasonable nerf. But there's something funny that happens when stuff gets nerfed. A lot of times people say, it's gone, it's dead forever.
This is very common and oftentimes wrong.
Yeah, one of the funniest ones ever that literally ever happened in my entire life. And like when they remember Blue Flame, it used to give like +10 against light.
Right.
And then it got nerfed. If I recall this correctly, it was down to +5 versus light. And I remember Special told me immediately, he's like, Hellions can't even be used anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about? That is a +5 attack upgrade. That is very high quality. Anyways.
No, it is a thing where
that was like 10 years ago, but
no, but you'll see this in StarCraft. You'll see this in other games as well, where like something gets nerfed, even like a fighting game where like the fireball damage of something gets changed, and people are like, well, now we can't use it. And a lot of people actually won't use it, and then months later they'll be like, no, actually it's still pretty good. I mean, a lot of times they nerf this stuff so that it can be used more fairly, not so it can never be used at all.
Yeah, and honestly, when you think about it, right, like, okay, well, the Void Rays are a little bit more expensive, and they take a little bit longer to make. Ooh, a Nidus.
Nidus.
Yeah. You know, what would make that unusable at this point? And I think you would think, like, oh, well, the Queen marches could be stronger because you won't have as many Voids, but you can't march them, so you have to do something like this, the Nidus.
And I think you could set up to have Crate put over here in this Nidus network that comes out. So this may be like a setup, almost like an anti-patch strat.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, where people, you know, all the stuff we're talking about, like you can't do this. He's like, well, if I actually tweak a few things here or there, yes, in fact, you can. Yeah,
they did make it so that the creep comes out of the Nidus a little bit further, which I think was a direct buff to the Queen all-ins with it. Because obviously they can't transfuse off creep, right? So we might just see Dark get a kill here.
Yeah, here we go.
Out.
Kind of surprising to see that Classic did not have anything to spot for this. I mean, this isn't a new idea, right? Especially in maps like this where you have that kind of hanging area in your main base plateau that's kind of pulled down. So let's see if he can actually hang on here, but right now, not so good as Nidus Networks are leapfrogging forward. And by the way, both Stargates are unpowered.
Oof.
And I think even if the Void Ray can pop out with it being repowered, it's probably going to be killed off immediately. The Immortal's going to come up onto the high ground and try to take a fight. It's all the way in the back, but there are so many Lings. And again, the Stargates cannot produce.
Yeah, but, you know, Classic is doing his best trying to hold. He's getting rid of that other Nidus that's popping up in his third. He put a force field down there to catch a bunch of the Lings. But losing all these buildings in the main, I mean, this is obviously looking like it's going to be a Dark victory.
And, yeah, I mean, this is all but over, I would imagine, here. The third base isn't mining. He's squeezed on production here at the Natural. There's shield batteries. But this should be GG in a moment here. It looks like Dark in a pretty straightforward classic Nidus rush, winning in a new iteration of StarCraft 2.
The Queen's coming down the ramp. They don't even care that they can't transfuse right now. They're like, hey, why are you doing this? You can't transfuse. They're like, yeah, you're not supposed to build Void Rays. So
the Banelings are actually stuck behind the Queens. They do eventually spill through. Hitting the sweet spot there. The Immortal is going to go down. And GG finally comes in here as Dark gets the fatality there onto Classic. And again, you know, we can talk about old ideas, new patch, but also old strategies and, not a modern setup to look for that.
Yeah.
The mid-game Nidus is, I feel like, we have it at least once a day if we're going to have a group of GSL. Am I wrong?
Maybe,
It's something that,
it's pretty common.
is in the toolkit to try to completely sideline mid-game for Protoss, and not having vision of that. I think especially with the Void Ray. Now, I didn't quite watch this part early on. Maybe the Void Ray was baited away somewhere, and that's why it was able to get in there. But honestly, like, you got to watch for that rough start here. Right now, Dark 1-0 versus Classic as we go to Glittering Ashes here for Game 2.
Yeah, hoping that Classic can pull it together here. A little bit unfortunate they didn't get that scout off, obviously. Yeah. But Dark with that killer instinct. So leading right now. Let's see if Classic can do it. Game number 2 starting up.
Game 2, go, go.
2022 GSL Season 1. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Dark. Alpha X, Classic.
So, what is Dark gonna do this game? I don't know. I definitely don't think it's going to be another Nidus network. I think, Dark is still the favorite here against Classic, but, even then, I don't think you do that twice. But, Dark is a player. He wins GSLs, and players like that tend to think about not just, their opponent or their group, but the entire tournament. So, a lot of times, strategies you can pull off, like that Nidus network we saw in Game 1, one of the nice things about that, if you're a championship player, is you're not really giving away anything else about the way you're approaching the game for other players that are watching who are trying to figure out how you're going to play.
Now, to be fair, Classic is a champion as well. This guy definitely does know how to win. And I kind of appreciate seeing the very first game here after the patch. He is going ahead and going for a Void Ray build, so he seems unperturbed.
Artos, I just realized I have your headset and you have mine. So
We normally do that, actually.
But I was actually fiddling with this dial the whole time, which was the volume. Was that messing with you?
Well, Tasteless, luckily for me, you never actually know which knobs are yours
the yellow
and which
one.
are not. And nothing changed for me. So whatever you turned did not even...
So wait, I'm just going to touch the same one I'm touching.
Yeah.
Does that change
Oh
at all?
my God, turn that back down. What are you... Tasteless, the sound engineer.
So wait, okay, so this one's
GSL
mine.
sound guy over
You've
here.
been like too loud in my ears this whole time, and I've just been trying to turn it down. I couldn't figure out what's going on here.
Well, now I'm
right.
just going to talk louder, Tasteless. How do you like that?
All right, it's good to be back, guys. Good to be back. Now, I don't know. I didn't listen to anything that you said before that because I was trying to figure out this thing underneath our table. What were you saying, Artosis?
It doesn't matter, Tasteless.
I had this thing in my head where occasionally, Artosis, like when you're just casting and I space out in my head, I just imagine you going, "Oh, Tasteless, ow," like that. And I come back, I'm like, "You're absolutely right, Dan. I couldn't agree more." And if you look at the supplies here, that really tells the story. I really do that too. I've done that for years in my head.
Yeah, I do believe you, Tasteless.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I don't doubt for a second that you do that, Tasteless. That's completely on brand for you.
It's a Void Ray again. A glitch in the Matrix, maybe?
Nah, dude, you know what? Here's the thing. Patches are just in your mind anyways. What does it matter?
Patches are really just a way of looking at life.
Yeah.
Now, it's Void Ray into Oracle. And again, my take on this is that it's basically just a control Void Ray where you're trying to like kill off stuff right around your base. I don't think we're going to have games where they mass Void Ray, and if they do, I mean, we'll talk about that when we get there, but basically a way to manage your side of the map.
Well, I mean, he was going for the +1 last time and 2 Stargate, and he might do that again here. He just added a couple more gases. Yeah, there it is, +1. So he should be throwing down a second Stargate as well, unless this is a little bit of a bait, right? Okay, there it is. I was going to say, right, because he did go Void Ray last time, so once Warp Gate is done, if you start that air attacks, then Dark is going to think it's Void Ray, but then maybe it's not. It's one of Protoss's favorite moves, Stasis, is faking
like,
out with the
is there
cybernetic
not,
score.
you know, flipping a coin and hoping that gets the wrong side.
All right, so coming in, a little bit of drone harassment here. 4 drones, not bad. Not bad, Tasteless.
Not bad indeed. You know, it's funny, we talked early on about things that may or may not be factors with the new patch, and so far, everything that we've kind of thought, and I'm sure a lot of people watching thought, so far hasn't been the case. You can still win with queens attacking your enemy in positions that are very strong, and you know, Mass Void Ray is apparently a thing. I said a few minutes ago, hey, if we get there, we'll talk about it. Well, we're already here, guys. Welcome. Thank you for waiting. It only took 2 games, one where the Protoss wasn't attacked with a Nidus all in.
Yeah. Well, there's still time for that, Tasteless. There's a Roach Horn coming.
True.
Maybe it's a Roach Queen all in.
The layer's not done. Hold on.
Robo coming up, and like, I mean, it's a Void Ray opener. We'll see if he goes maybe directly into Disruptor from here. That's kind of my guess as to why he's getting the Robo right now. We'll see.
It is going to be a Nidus.
Yeah.
We keep saying things aren't going to happen, and they are. They are. Now, where is the Nidus going to be set up here? This is a little bit of a harder map to Nidus. There's not a...
Well, he's got a pylon on the edge of his main now. So Dark's going to see it and be like, phooey.
He's like, what a real gamer, and just has to let the Nidus stay. Just a butt, never a head.
Oh, dude, he tagged the Nidus.
Uh-oh.
And, I mean, a Disruptor is coming. You know, he might Nidus, like, outside the third. Like,
No,
where
I think
that
he's
link
going
is
right
on
up
the
here
side.
with this Overseer.
If he tries in the main, it's going to get shut down, I think. Where are the Voids? Like, look. Oh, okay. So Classic has a good spread around. Oh, my God. Okay. Good. If he just, like, if that just goes up and he wins, I'm like, that's a champion right there.
So that's killed off, and this time all attacks easily parried on the side of Classic. The Nidus is then remade, this time adjacent to the entry of the natural. Woo, that was a bad click.
But Disruptors are coming out, so that makes it like much more holdable. Okay, gonna pull back for now. That one does open up. He did kill the Overseer behind his main, which is super important. And I believe we already have 1 Disruptor. There it is.
All right, nice connection. Where's your transfuse god now? Oh, never mind.
The other ones get to the creep first, and now he's just going to go back in. Oh, he's droning. He's getting +1 air attack. Okay. 7 shield batteries being made.
Yeah,
Wow.
8 Mutas coming here for the Zerg.
Yeah,
and just going to lean into that with the air attack upgrade here. It's interesting. The moment he realizes that Nidus play's not going to work, he doesn't even try to eke out any extra damage. He says, nope, I'm going to nope out of this attack.
Well, dude, he's got 79 drones.
I'm going to nope out of this, and I'm going to yup into the next phase of the game.
Totally.
It's good to be back, everybody. So mutas are going to be, it looks like, hitting the natural over here.
Well, he doesn't have good defense for it right now. He doesn't actually have any photon cannons in mineralize. So that is a bit of an issue. Plenty elsewhere. Okay, the Muta's going to get on top of these. Now, he did make a flea beacon, so he's going to drop down quite a bit there as far as the Void Ray count, but I'm sure he's making Phoenixes right now.
Okay, a lot of damage over here at the natural. Again, you know, there's Void Rays that are out there, not that fast. They can't quite get over there. Actually, a lot of damage here with these Lings surrounding these Disruptors.
Yeah, a few Phoenixes are coming out, and the batteries look like they'll keep everything else alive. So a grand total of 7 probes end up going down. Definitely some interrupted mining time and everything as well. Lots of Disruptor in there also. But you know what? Classic's taken a 4th base. He has, like, the thing is his army is very strange looking right now, right? He's got like 4 disruptors and like 4 void rays and a handful of phoenixes, right? He's getting phoenix range. He doesn't have any gateway upgrades. It's a very weird army right now. It's like it's super highly technical. Like he's made all these different units just to keep himself alive. Yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say about that, Daces. It's just a weird looking army. It's not something that you're going to go attack with.
What I have to say is the Protoss's technology is much better than the other races. Back to you.
Well, you'd think that, but the Hive is almost done, so no. Actually not. Anyway, look at this. He's still making the mutas.
All right.
And look, he's about to have the greater... I mean, not the greater spire. He's making a second spire, so obviously a greater spire is going to be on the way.
It's called the greatest spire at that point in time.
The greatest spire.
Yeah.
But let's see if he makes like a Viper. Maybe throw a parasitic bomb down on these phoenixes. That would be kind of cool. You think that would be cool, Tasteless?
No. I think it'd be dumb.
Yeah.
No, I think it could be a possibility coming up here, Artosis. In all seriousness, Phoenixes are now being amassed. This is becoming, you know, air fleet versus air fleet game, powering up. And, you know, to what we mentioned earlier here, right, Queens can't transfuse off creep, but the Zerg's creep is already at almost half of the map here. Oh, nice Ling run by here. So we could end up in a situation where the Zerg can once again strong arm a fight into the mid game, or into the late game, I mean.
Muta's coming in now. Oh, they fly on top of an Archon. I guess they'll just pop that, not taking too much damage. Killed off a Disruptor there as well. The Lings ending up getting a decent amount there. Nidus attempts to go up in the main base. A lot of Corruptors being made. Phoenix Void Ray still what Classic is producing.
Yeah, Zerg continuing to kind of position very well on the map. The Protoss can poke out like this, but you got to be careful. You know, you don't know where the mutas are. If we could see just map vision for Protoss, that would really illustrate it here. You really have no idea where the mutas are going to be on the map, and that means they can, you know, once you see where the Void Rays are, you can try to hit where they're not. With the Observer there, he does see these mutas coming over here just now.
Now, oh my God, the amount of Lings that are actually just running into that main base. This is getting a little bit rough right now, I think.
Yeah, and you know, he can't take that fight at the third, but that's not even really the point. The whole idea is to destroy the infrastructure in the main, and even with the Void Rays then recalled over here, is it possible to then attack into the fourth?
Well, the Phoenixes, I think, can hold everything with batteries and cannons right now, but he's got to take care of these Lings in his main base. He's got to make sure, yeah, the Nidus didn't get to finish there, so that's good. He's trying to save these Stargates, like he needs his production still. This is a lot of pressure being put on by Dark, and it's pretty impressive because he has 83 drones behind it, so even though he's not necessarily always being efficient with these, he's, you know, able to refill pretty quickly.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, you know, he's in a position base-wise where growth isn't an issue, so he can kind of go blow for blow basically and keep the Protoss down overall. And even when he retreats, even when he lost a bunch of those mutas, he can still refill that pretty easily.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. He has double Spire just upgrades going right now. So he's getting +3 air attack. He's getting +1 flyer carapace. Obviously, these Phoenixes flying around, seeing what they can get done. They do have that range upgrade. But Ultralisks are being upgraded here as well, Tasteless. Chitinous Plating going to be finishing up. Obviously, between the Corruptor and the Ultra, those Phoenixes not going to have much use. Dude. Protoss needs a door, man. Let's go back to that.
They need a door, dude.
That's the one thing that was really missing in this patch.
They need a moat as well, I think.
Yeah. They need a door. Okay, finally he puts a Zealot there.
And so now, you know, we're still watching Classic kind of, you know, hanging on with 4 bases here. As far as growth on the map, this hasn't really been a thing that's been happening for Protoss, but we now see the 5th base. You know, as I finish that sentence, it's now being warped in.
Hey, here's a question, Tasteless.
Yes, Artosis.
As we watch these carriers just get absolutely demolished by a mass corruptor ball.
again,
My God.
they can basically come in there, hit everything, and then back right back out here. Now he's going to come in here and try to counterattack what the Phoenix is. He can use the Nexus to try to recall this if the Corruptors can corner this. It's not going to be an easy catch, but eventually the Phoenixes are going to run out of map.
Well, even if they do, I think this is fine. Like, the Phoenixes don't scale well at this point. Like, he doesn't need them for anything. It's not like mutas are going to be made again, so you may as well be over here making them useful. Ultras are being made right now, so it's like going to be Ultraless Corruptor, which is kind of a funny composition. But yeah, what I wanted to mention is like Ultraless Speed was just finishing up when I was starting to say that before the carriers all popped. But why do we call it like Ultraless Speed, but then we call like Zealot Legs? Whereas it's a picture of a leg on the Ultraless upgrade. Shouldn't we call it Ultraless Legs?
That's a good question.
I'm pretty sick of Ultra Speed. Like,
well,
it's like,
yeah,
it makes them faster. Obviously, it's a leg upgrade.
Well, I do want to point out, I think the Zealot Legs thing is actually my fault, because that's what I called it in Brood War without ever thinking about it.
Well,
and so it's one of these weird things.
We call it charge more than legs, you know, because they have the
but
charge.
I'm still calling it legs, because I'm just used to saying that.
But can we call it Ultra Legs?
Yeah, we can do that. Ultra's legs are upgraded.
But like, because it's Ultra and legs, it like kind of sounds corny, so maybe we should call it Super Duper Legs. Just really lean into it.
Call it running shoes. By the way, another attack over here. This is at the 5th, but you know, the 4th is also at risk of taking a lot of damage. There's the transfuse chain.
Yeah, the Ultra's trying to push back these Archons a little bit. The Archon's so important here. Some Zealots hitting a little bit of a counterattack. It's not a mining base right now, but always nice to take it down. Looks like this base not going to end up living for Classic. He is maxed out, though. Like, he's got an army that can fight still.
And he's got these Zealots that are going to come over here and try to hit this hatchery. Some Lings are going to come up here. He needs to basically decide, is he going to commit onto that hatchery or try to destroy the spine and the drones? And kind of surprised he's not actually targeting that down, because these are eventually going to get fished away to some part of the map where there are Zerg units. And look, the Zerg can basically keep the Protoss on 4 bases forever and win that way. You don't have to actually kill them off. He already did enough damage early on that it's going to be hard to play it out from there. Now, with the Corruptor count as high as it is, they basically just out-muscled the Protoss' air. And I mean, yeah, sure, the 3 Archons, the Immortal, Stalker, and Zealot can win the ground fight, but they don't have a lot of staying power in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to like walk across the map and kill your opponent with 3 Archons. They do well here. The thing is, we've never seen a completed composition from Classic, even though he's been maxed out. And a big part of that is Dark has been running around switching his composition over and over and over. Right? Like, he started off with the Nidus with Roach Queen. It got Disruptors out. He switched into Muta, which kind of made Phoenixes made. Then he went into Corruptor. So that now you're like more Phoenixes and stuff like that. And then he went into Ultra, right? And he's kind of jumping all over the place.
Right.
And it's like the composition's like okay for Classic, especially if he's fighting against like mostly Ultra here. But it doesn't really look like a 20-minute I win the game comp, you know?
No, I mean, the Zerg, I think, would have to overextend over and over and over again. And even then, I think it's kind of hard to imagine. Now, the Zerg is getting stretched a little bit thin here, but I think the reality truly is that this game is, I think, not going to be going on for much longer if Dark basically plays a clean endgame here.
Yeah, but if he's attacking into, you know, 5-6 Immortals plus Archon plus Void Ray with Mass Ultra, then that's somewhere where Classic's going to get pretty efficient. That is a lot of Ultras out on the map and a lot of Immortals as well.
Yeah, this may shift into more of a ground fight here.
I think so. But now time for some Broodlords, which is a great add-on right now.
Yeah,
you have
well,
all those Corruptors. Like, Broodlords are so good against Immortal Archon.
Yeah, nothing's worse than Immortal Archon against Broodlord.
Yeah.
And again, you know, the Protoss does not have the 5th base. I think the 3rd base is, I think, nearly mined out. Like, I think we're starting to have, like, gappy patches there.
The 4th base is almost mined out even.
Yeah, so, again, really what we want to watch for, and we can watch a million fights like this here or there, but what you really want to look for big picture is, can the Protoss actually get a 5th base up and keep it and, like, use it?
Well, I think the broods are gonna, you know, walk across the map in the sky, also known as fly, and
they're gonna fly walk over there.
Fly walk.
Yeah.
Like those shoes, airwalks.
And then they're gonna,
remember those?
And then they're gonna heel kill them with broodlings.
Yeah, the Ultra's not trading so well against that army, but the Broodlords certainly will. As long as he has a little bit of anti-air here for those Voids. Classic trying to attack in. That is a lot of brutes.
And they're just going to come through onto the left side here. Now, this is pretty big. Like, let's say that Classic can kill this off and get away. That would be great. The problem is that we're watching this base slowly collapse. So all that Zerg has to do now is kill this Protoss Death Ball. And as scary as it looks, Supply says otherwise. 133 to a maxed out Zerg.
Yeah.
Again, all signs point to Zerg victory here. Probably within a couple minutes.
Yeah, I think the Broodlord defense is a bit too strong. Like, you just can't quite eliminate that. Even though the army supplies are similar, and the cost efficiency is probably higher here for the Protoss army, does any of that matter?
So Protoss goes back. I mean, the damage was done over here at the Zerg, but I think funding's still pretty good. So what Zerg needs to probably do next is just set up a strong attack. Now, if Protoss hangs on and defends this base, we're still in the game. The game will go on, but otherwise...
Can you see him doing
that's
that,
it.
though?
I don't think so.
No, there's like 11 Corruptors, 12 Broodlords. Yeah, some Tempests are coming out, but...
even his Link just sniping it.
Classic's pretty dead here. I like this move. It's a good move. Does a little kick flip there at the end. You know.
Okay, Protoss is going to try to push in, and I guess this is the only other play you could try. But again, I mean, these are just units that cannot beat Broodlings. The Broodlings just deal damage. The Broodlords remain untouched. GG. Dark wins 2-0. That's our first best of 3 for Group A, our first best of 3 for the season and the year here for Code S. But I'll tell you what, man, Dark made it look like it could have been last year.
Yeah, plenty of Void Raids, plenty of Queens off creep.
Nidus is still win.
You know, yeah, I guess it didn't really look all that different, but
we ended it with you know, Queens transfusing. But again, you know, Dark did fight for creep on the map that really allowed the Zerg to really have the opportunity to try to take fights that were too close to the Protoss' home. We can talk about late game, but I think a lot of that was also the Lings getting in there and destroying the Stargate infrastructure in the main as well.
That was
very important. Up next, guys, DRG versus Dream. We go to that after this commercial break.